is BBC Radio Leicester with Ben Jackson. Good afternoon and welcome to this week's edition of Play It Again, Ben, with me, Ben Jackson. It's just over 4 weeks since the little girl from Rothley, Madeleine McCann, went missing whilst on holiday in Portugal. So for the first half of the show this week, we'll be looking back at some of the coverage here on BBC Radio Leicester.
Please, please do not hurt her. Please don't scare her. Please tell us where to find her. Or put her in a place of safety and let somebody know where she is. We beg you to let Madeline come home.
And of course was Madeline's mother Kate pleading for her return. A week after her disappearance, we on The Breakfast Show look back at how the story had first broken. This is BBC Radio Leicester.
Police in Portugal are investigating claims that a 3-year-old girl from Leicester has been abducted while on holiday.
It was within a few short hours of little Madeline's mum, Kate, making her chilling discovery that speculation spiralled over how and why she disappeared. Had she wandered off in the night? Or had every parent's worst nightmare happened? She'd been snatched by a stranger and taken who knows where or why. The Portuguese authorities were saying nothing. The McCanns, however, did speak. They made the first of several emotional appeals outside the holiday apartment in the resort of Praia da Luz, where their precious little Madeline was last seen.
Gerry and I would just like to express our sincere gratitude and thanks to everybody, but particularly the local community here who have offered support. I couldn't have asked for more. I just want to say thank you. Please continue to pray for Madeline. It's lovely.
Meanwhile, back home in Leicestershire, the gravity of the situation was becoming all too clear. Reaction from you was heartfelt as family and friends of the McCanns tried to express their deep concern.
You couldn't meet a more considerate, caring set of parents. I'm proud of my daughter and I'm proud of her choice of husband. They really care for the kids and they would never do anything that would jeopardise.
Madeline is a lovely wee girl. She's vivacious, friendly, outgoing. She's got twins that are her brother and sister that are 2 for this month on the 12th of May. Our family are all distraught. The phone has been non-stop.
Among the many acts of empathy was a prayer vigil held by colleagues of Madeline's dad, Gerry, a cardiologist at the Glenfield Hospital.
Yesterday I spoke to Gerry and was so impressed and humbled. A truly remarkable man.
I think other than the despair you see on the television, I don't think we can say much more than that. You know, it's heartrending for them.
Their wish must be great, and there's good soon.
Meanwhile, nowhere has emotions run deeper than in the McCann's home village of Rothley, where neighbours and friends came together on Tuesday evening for a silent vigil.
The whole of the green was full, and I didn't dare turn around because it was very emotional. It just shows that this is what people wanted to show, that the family, that, you know, the village really is behind them and they really do care.
The search for little Madeline continues hundreds of miles away in the Algarve. Criticism of the way it's been handled by the authorities there have been voiced, not least by friends and relatives of the family. And it's taken the intervention of the British ambassador to Portugal, John Buck, to diffuse the tension.
I have been in touch closely over the last few days with cabinet ministers here in Portugal, with the Prime Minister's office and with the Portuguese police authorities. They all assure me that everything possible is being done to ensure the safe return of Madeline.
Now, 7 days on from the start of this frantic search, there's still sadly no sign of the little girl from Rothley. And with every passing hour, the desperation and anxiety grows. But there's little doubt that however this ordeal ends for Madeline and her parents, her newfound extended family here in Leicestershire will be there for them.
Well, that was how we were reflecting the story a week after Madeline had first gone missing. And of course, in that time, we've had hundreds and hundreds of calls here to BBC Radio Leicester, like this call to The Breakfast Show from Denise.
It was a small fishing village when we went. It's grown immensely over the last few years since they went into the Euro. But the apartments, we sold some of the apartments, and I think everyone that's been approached on to be interviewed has said what a safe place it is, and compared with the UK, it is very, very safe. And you know, for people to the parents leaving the children, I think, is very unfair, because everybody says, oh, it's safe, it's safe, it's safe. And, you know, you can actually see the apartments, but the apartment you're looking at there, the bedrooms are at the back. And they've all got these very heavy metal shutters. And I can't understand how one person could have lifted them up, because they are extremely heavy shutters.
Just a bit the kind of feel of the place, the safety of it.
Well, you know, our daughter was 8-year-old at the Barlaventa school. They could go out. You felt that, you know, they'd got the freedom that they hadn't got in the UK to go out, you know, on their bikes and walks. They could go, when they were a bit older, they could go down in the evening. And you didn't have to go down and meet them, because they'd go down in groups. You know, it was this very safe feeling about the place. I mean, we never ever went to bed with all our windows, you know, closed. I mean, I will say, while we were there, some of our friends were subjected to petty burglaries, and some whilst they were asleep at night. But that was probably the major crime then, was petty theft.
Well, that was just one of the callers that we've received to BBC Radio Leicester. People have been showing their support. You don't have to go down to Rothley Village Centre to see the tens of thousands of yellow ribbons that have been tied around the war memorial. But that's not the only place that people have been expressing their thoughts with those yellow ribbons. Indeed, we found that the taxi drivers here in Leicester have been doing their own thing.
My name's Paul, I work for Circle Taxis. Basically, a couple of that we actually deliver flowers for A Market, the flower shop in the A Market. They kindly donated all the yellow ribbons for the girl that's gone missing in Portugal. And every taxi driver that works for Circle has got one on their cars. That's day and night shift. Just to give a bit of support. Not much we can do, but just to let them know that we're thinking about them.
Like you say, there isn't much you can physically do. So how does it make you feel to sort of have this small show of support?
Well, it just shows that the solidarity in the city, and we are thinking about them. Obviously, they're off here, you know, and we do think about them, and we hope that she's found sooner rather than later.
My name's Simon, and I thought, well, just an idea where we can just show a bit of support and put the yellow ribbon on. We're hoping everybody else, private hire and hat images, will do the same.
So it was your idea, and how well received has it been amongst the other cabbies?
Yeah, the whole firm's put, the whole company in Circle Taxi, they put all their ribbons on, and I have noticed a few other cabs in and around the town done the same thing. So again, we're just trying to promote a bit of solidarity from a long way away, and showing that we're all thinking about Madeline and all concerned.
My name's Wesley, and I'm very deeply saddened about the little girl going missing, and I hope she does come home safe. And like my colleague said, we're putting their ribbons on for a mark of respect for the families as well, and friends. The families, they've said this morning they're staying out there, and they're going to stay until they find her, or they know what's happened to her, and I hope that everything turns out okay.
Is it a topic of conversation when you guys get together like you are now in the office?
When we first come in the morning, people will mention, have they found her yet, and some will say no. You know, somebody's been listening to the news, so she does get mentioned every day.
I'm Gary. We would like the other taxi drivers to go and other firms as well. We're too lucky to be in bed at night, you see. So yeah, it's a good thing, and we're all thinking about her. Just hope the best comes to the best at the end of it.
And you probably noticed as you drive around the city now that almost every taxi seems to have either a yellow ribbon on it, or indeed, as I drove about yesterday, I saw several with pictures of Madeline pasted to the inside rear window of the taxis. It's Play Again Ben with a special first half of the show this afternoon, as we look back at 4 weeks since Madeleine McCann went missing from holiday in Portugal.
The Ruby Service in Leicester Cathedral on Wednesday the 20th. Write to us for your free ticket, enclosing a stamped self-addressed envelope, to BBC Radio Leicester at 9 St Nicholas Place, Leicester LE1 5LB. BBC Radio Leicester, 40 years on the air. Come and celebrate with us.
Now then, of course, one of the most difficult times that the McCann family have had to face up to in the last 4 weeks was the time when Maddie would have been celebrating her 4th birthday.
Today is our daughter Madeline's 4th birthday. We would like to mark it by asking people to redouble their efforts to help find Madeline. On Madeline's birthday, please keep looking, please keep praying, please help bring Madeline home.
Jealous sky Gerry and Kate are having a family day. They're spending time with their family, and the rest of us are going to be doing that, trying to galvanise our union that we have, which is very strong. And we're going to have small celebrations, not of Maddie's birthday, but of her life so far.
Among the fields of gold.
40 pink balloons with goodwill messages will be released in Quenenborough this morning to commemorate Madeline's 4th birthday.
We want Kate and Gerry to know that not a single minute goes by without us thinking about them and the terrible cold darkness that surrounds them. We want them to know that every minute of every day we will be thinking of them and in some small way share the unbearable load that they carry. And the balloons that you see here today each represent a message of love, hope and support for Madeline. And we hope that by releasing these messages of love, they somehow will touch little Madeline wherever she may be and let her know how much you're thinking of her and her mummy and her daddy.
Walking fields of gold.
There's 7 girls who live in Rothley who decided that we needed to do something to help in the search. 7 girls of us are all going to East Midlands Airport about 10 o'clock this morning. We've managed to print about 1,500 posters off, which we're taking, and we're going to give them out to as many British holidaymakers as possible, going to anywhere in Europe.
And you've done this completely off your own back?
Yeah, I think we were deciding what we could do locally, and we thought, well, maybe we could, instead of, like you say, just sitting back and hoping, that we could do something a bit positive and just make more and more people aware. And we're hoping that everyone will take one and put them up in bars, cafes, restaurants, hotels, on lampposts near beaches, anything like that.
When the west wind moves among the fields of barley.
Every parent I know will be thinking about Maddie's family, her parents, and they'll be thinking about what they could do to help the parents, and they'll be sympathising with them in this great hour of need and wishing that things will work out well for the future.
Valerie Armstrong, I mean, you really started things off here by organising the vigil on Tuesday, and it hasn't stopped, has it?
No, it certainly hasn't stopped. I think it's blown everybody away, and it's not just the village of Rothley. The outlying villages all over Leicestershire have been coming because they feel this is the symbol of hope for Madeline.
Will you be my love among the fields?
Well, I've got a copy of your News of the World newspaper in front of me this morning, and it's emblazoned across the front page. £1.5 million reward for the safe return of Madeline.
The way it came together is quite remarkable. We talked to J.K. Rowling of Harry Potter fame. We talked to Sir Philip Green, the boss of BHS, to Bill Kenwright, the Everton chairman, and Sir Richard Branson, and a number of others, Simon Cowell too, and they all said, well, look, we'd like to play a part in this. Nobody would be more delighted than these people and ourselves to be writing out a big fat check to an informant who somehow or other was able to produce information leading to Maddie's safe return into the arms of her family.
At a time like this, communities come together and people get in touch with their needs to pray. That's why I'm so pleased that the parish church in Rothley has been open for prayer. Many other places have been open for prayer. People have been calling into the cathedral for conversation and for prayer. I believe that's going on all over this diocese, all over, indeed in Portugal, because at a moment like this, people know their need of God's love and the hope which in the end is there for us because God cares for us and cares for that little girl.
You remember me when the west wind moves among the fields of barley.
And of course the search still goes on, and your help has frankly been incredible. Over the last 4 weeks, not only have well over 100 million people, in fact 142 million people, visited the Find Madeline website, which is findmadeline.com, but also over £250,000 has been raised to help the McCanns find their daughter. This is Esther McVey.
Well, I'd like to thank everybody coming today, and I'd like to welcome everybody here for what is the launch of the Madeline Fund. And it came from inspiration from various sources, from the public, from the community at large, from the family, and also from the medical family.
Well, John McCann, the uncle of Madeleine McCann, went on to explain how the support from well-wishers has been a much-needed for Madeleine's parents, Gerry and Kate.
We feel that there's a real spirit out there. It's like a community prayer, and we're really grateful for it because we're not superhuman. There are times we at home, and I know Gerry and Kate abroad, have had their down times. And when we pass on good wish, we can hear their mood lift.
Now, of course, there have been gestures of support for this latest bid to boost the search for Madeleine from people like David Beckham and Cristiano Ronaldo and Jose Mourinho, the manager of Chelsea FC. Another huge sporting name to lend their backing is the former England and Leicester Tigers captain Martin Johnson. He too was at the launch yesterday.
I got contacted by Joe McCann's colleagues at the Glenfield, Tony Gershlick, early in the week, and actually last week, and saying, look, we're going to be doing something. They weren't exactly sure what they were going to do at that point, but obviously it's got this fun today, and I didn't hesitate to get involved. I think everyone will do whatever they can to help. I guess also people feel a bit plus and that you don't feel that there's any way you can help or contribute, and I guess this fund gives people a chance to do that if they want.
Well, one member of the McCann family who's spent his parents in Portugal and at the same time has kept her family together difficult period has been Madeleine's grandmother, Eileen McCann. Well, speaking exclusively to BBC Radio Leicester's Bridget Blair, she spoke of and described what the creation of the fund means to her family.
To Gerry and Kate, it will mean an awful lot because what I presume they will do is, if they don't get Madeline back in the next week, that they'll put lawyers, investigators in most European countries, and they need money to do that, to pay for all this. So, therefore, that's why the fund's been started. The support all over Glasgow, every city has been just wonderful. And we hear from Brian here, Johnny's in contact all the time. But my daughter's out there too, Tricia and her husband Sandy, and well, you can expect one day they think, oh, we're hearing something good. They're in a downer the next day, so Kate, too good yesterday, but I had a text this morning and she's a lot better today. We've had loads of response in Glasgow, people wanting to donate money, which we wouldn't take till Gerry got it legally set up with the lawyers. He's coping pretty good. Talks more to my son and daughter, and then he'll have the last few words with me before he goes to bed at night, but I don't think they get much sleep. The night before I came home, I went in to say goodnight to them, and I was playing with them, and Emily said to me, Madeline, Granny? And I just couldn't answer it, so I got Kate. Kate said Madeline's poorly. But now they're going and they're looking at posters and they're waving to it and saying, oh, there's Madeline. When is she coming home, Daddy? And my son said it's getting harder because they want to know more. And they're only 2. What do you tell 2-year-olds? They're missing their big sister. It's really pulls at your heartstrings.
Well, that's how we covered the launch of the fund on the breakfast show here on BBC Radio Leicester. Of course, in the last 4 weeks there have been a great deal of ups and downs. 2 weeks ago there was a huge amount of excitement at an uncharacteristically open press conference held by the Portuguese police. There was much media anticipation before it, but there was no new news. I spoke to Madeleine's great-aunt Janet Kennedy immediately after that press conference to see how she was bearing up under this intense pressure.
Well, I'm not used to Portuguese ways of dealing with the press, nor with police protocol. And Brian and I spoke about it very briefly before, and we refused to get excited, because I don't think it's fair to ourselves or to anyone else. I think we just have to take each day as it comes. I can't say that, I was terribly excited, because there have been other press conferences, and there have been rumours as well of sightings and of things that have happened, and I think it's better really to try and stay open and see I think the police obviously are doing their very, very best, and I felt today there was a sense of stepping up a gear, and that there was an urgency, and that they were really trying their hardest to follow leads.
You obviously have a strong faith. How is that bearing you up at this time?
Amazingly, actually. I mean, obviously, we all have dark moments, and moments when something comes into our minds that we just have to simply brush aside. the possibility of what has happened to Madeline, but I don't think it's right to go there. I think in faith you hope and you pray that all will turn out well, and I think that the strength that I get from Portugal when I talk to Kate and Gerry helps me, and they certainly feel a very strong spirit of support coming from the UK, both Scotland and England, and actually worldwide. We have relatives in other parts of the world, and everyone is praying, everyone is telling everybody else, everybody is involved. It's absolutely amazing, actually. And I think it gives one cause for hope. I suppose I feel, that Madeline is being cared for and protected and guided in some way that I don't understand, and that Gerry and Kate too are feeling very, very supported.
That was Janet Kennedy, Madeline's great aunt, speaking to me in Rothley about a fortnight ago. Well, of course, there's one thread that goes through all of this, and that's that thread of prayer and faith that Janet was talking about. And that culminated this week with the McCann's visit to the Pope in Vatican City.
Obviously, we've got very mixed emotions about being here, and of course why we're here. In normal circumstances it would be one of the most exciting things we could do in our own lifetime, but we're very much on our minds is the fact that we're here without Madeline.
The words of Gerry McCann before the family met the Pope. This is the first time his wife Kate has left Portugal since her daughter's disappearance 4 weeks ago. The couple sat in the front row in St Peter's Square as tens of thousands of people attended the audience. Afterwards they showed the Pope a picture of their daughter, and he spoke to them for a few moments and shook their hands.
He was very kind, very sincere. He said that you'd pray for us and our family, and that he'd continue to pray for Madeline's safe return to us.
More personal than I could ever have imagined it could have been, and there was recognition immediately, and looking at Madeline's photograph, and his touch and thoughts and words were more tender than we could have hoped, and that will help sustain us during this most difficult time.
The trip is part of their efforts to focus as much public attention as possible on the search for Madeline. They say they believe there could be a breakthrough in the investigation at any moment. Kate McCann says the family have remained positive after surviving the desperately difficult first 72 hours after Madeline's disappearance.
Very hard at that point to sort of get away from all the dark places. But then as time goes on, and as I say, the support we've had, prayers that we've had everywhere.
Publicise Madeline's disappearance. Family takes strength from running the campaign to...
It really does give you strength.
As it allows them to feel their hope. Gerry McCann says they're in control and helping in the hunt.
Still in the middle of a race that we don't know how long it's going to be, and I can't say how we will be changed by this experience. I think it's fair to say we'll never be the same again.
Gerry and Kate McCann now plan to visit other European countries, including Spain, Germany and Holland, in an attempt to enlist the help of more and more people in the search for their daughter.
That was Matt Leach with that report.